All right, welcome back. We are back discussing UFC 289 after a very long layoff, it seemed like. But you know what? It was kind of boring. There was not much going on in the UFC, so we decided to take a little break.
Yeah, refresh. We're back at it.
But back at it.
UFC 289 in Vancouver, back in Canada.
Yeah, a lot of Canadian fighters. 6-0 they were on the card.
Yeah.
6-0 Canadian fighters.
Very
so that
cool.
was pretty awesome. It's awesome to see guys in their home country and whatever. I mean, it's
good attendance. Gate was 3.8 million. So good on that for the UFC back in Canada. I always say it, but I love when they go to a certain country and line up a bunch of people from that country on the card. It's very cool to see people fight in their home or homeland, I should say. I don't know.
Yeah, it's cool. Whether it's Australia, London, whatever. I mean, they line up the fights, even though this card, beforehand we were kind of like, oh, this card really sucks. And I think that was a lot of the chatter online was that the card was not that good and, whatever. I mean, I kind of felt the same way, but it is what it is. I thought all in all, it turned out to be a good card. There were good fights and,
Yeah, when you say the card's not good, or when anyone says that, it's just like the names on the card were not great leading up to it,
Right. Comparatively to some other cards, yeah. But, I mean, I don't know. I mean, whatever. It was
produced some good fights, I'll say, yeah.
All in all, it turned out pretty good. So, I don't know. We can start with, let's start with Chris Curtis, I guess. I mean, the other ones, whatever. We can skip over some of the prelims, and we can just go right to Chris Curtis fight. And I thought, I don't know, my thought on this is it's just, I think that Chris Curtis was lucky that this was no contest.
Yeah, I did feel really bad for him. He was, who was Jason Herzog was the referee. He's telling Jason, no, please give me 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And Jason's like, I have to start the fight. If you can't see, then we have to call it or whatever.
I mean, the only reason I say that is I think that Imavov.
I think it's
Imavov.
Imavov.
I forget how to say that, but we're gonna butcher a lot of names. That's just how it goes. We'll make a broad stroke apology to every UFC fighter for butchering their name, except for Chris Curtis. Pretty easy to understand.
Pretty easy one.
That's a pretty easy one. So Imavov, I'm gonna say Imavov, whether it's right or not. I thought he looked awesome. Like he was just bouncing back and forth. Like he's one of those guys that like we always talk about. It's like, forget about this guy, and then when it's like we talk about, oh, there's not big names on the card. It's because we forget about how good these guys are, a lot of them.
Right.
And you're like, if Imavov, as soon as I saw a couple of highlights, I'm like, oh shit, yeah, this is the guy. Like he looked really good.
Everything's straight up the middle. Like he was beating Curtis to the punch a lot of the time. I mean, not to the punch, but like he was just like flushing punches. I don't know. He looked a lot quicker, more technical, had the better,
But yeah, you're right. Like that's what I noticed. Like everything right down the pipe.
Yeah.
It wasn't like looping around punches. No real, hooks being thrown. Just like straight down the middle.
Yeah.
Right. Even though Chris Curtis stands there like this, I mean, those punches were coming straight down the guard.
Right. Right. Yeah, he looked great. Yeah, Chris Curtis is probably a little lucky. That it was called.
Yeah, I think
it was, even though he didn't want it. He wanted to keep fighting, obviously.
I mean, you never know what's going to happen, but I thought Imavov was getting the better of him, and it was not going to end well for Curtis. I didn't think, but you never know. I mean, that's why the sport's great, because you never know what's going to happen.
Right.
So
he could come out in round 3.
Yeah. So not saying I'm not saying it.
And he's a good fighter.
Didn't have a chance to win. Yeah. But
he's had 40 professional fights. This is his 41st, I believe.
All in all, you never want to see a fight stop like that, and it's unfortunate because it was a clash of heads, and it was really just a thing where it was an accident, and it was a pretty bad cut above his eye, and it was really like at one point he was pleading with Herzog, saying, I wanted to. Please don't stop the fight. Please don't stop the fight. And then Herzog asked him one more time, can you see it out of your eye? And he said, it's blurry. And that was the final straw. It was like, that was it. Okay, it was over.
And it's the right decision. You got to protect the fighter and everything like that. I feel bad for him, though, because, you see this sometimes, and you could tell sometimes you could tell if a fighter is either indifferent if they keep fighting or really wants to keep fighting. It was clear that he wanted the fight to continue. I mean,
yeah, for sure. Yep. So, good on that. I mean, hopefully Imavov, they get him another fight soon because I thought he looks really good. And I don't know, like, he's number 12 in the middleweight division. And I know I always do this. I like to look ahead to see see who else is in that division. And I don't know. I think you got to give him a good, I mean, geez, Gastelum. I mean, you might want to give him Gastelum.
Yeah, Gastelum looked really good in his last fight, too. So wasn't that against Chris Curtis as well?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And we were saying the same thing. It was like Chris Curtis, that was a war. That was kind of a war between, and that was only 2 months ago he fought Gastelum. Yeah. So it was surprising.
Guys fights all the time.
Yeah, surprising he came back right away. But I mean, there's a lot of good guys up ahead of Imavov for him to fight. I mean, you know, Jack Hermanson, Delice, Brunson, Strickland, you know, all those guys are worthy opponents for him to move up. And you know, hopefully Chris Curtis comes back soon. Hopefully that cut heals and he can get back in there too, because it was
a nasty one, but he should be
should
be all right, you know.
Yeah. So, anyways, moving on. Let's move on.
Marc-Andre Barrios versus Eric Anders.
Yeah. This was a good fight too, and I thought, you know, Anders, you know, he's a pretty good veteran, right? I mean, he's been around a long time. Yeah.
Yeah, he's 16-6 and won no contest. Yeah.
Yeah. And we've seen Barrios before. I mean, you know,
big dude.
Yeah. Same thing. Pretty technical, you know, but I thought he fought really well, like really good striking, and I thought, you know, just kind of dominated the fight. Really.
Yeah, outclassed him, I would say. You know, good to see another Canadian win in Canada. Thought it was very cool. You know, just you could tell they're feeding off of the crowd, and like I said, the crowd was, you know, $3.8 million gate. They were all there, and their Canadian hockey jerseys. Like we were saying, that one guy's like, we're like, oh, let's wear a hockey jersey.
Yeah. Of course they're wearing a hockey jersey. They're Canadian.
But it was awesome. I don't know. Like they were all really into it. Canada really showed out, especially for their home guys, and it's always really, really, really cool to see.
Yeah. Plus, I think this is the first time they've been back in Canada since the pandemic. Really. I think this was the first time.
If not a good amount before then. I don't even know when.
Yeah, I don't think this is definitely. I think the first time they've been back because there were so many restrictions that.
Well, that's what I'm saying, and even before the pandemic, I'm not even sure when.
Oh yeah, I don't know. There. Maybe Montreal or something or whatever, but
yeah.
No, it was awesome. Awesome to see Barrios. I get back, you know, and get a win. I like him a lot.
Yeah.
But anyways, let's move on.
Dan Ige,
I mean, that's the thing. How is Dan Ige not even ranked anymore? Like, I don't see him ranked.
No, he's not.
Yeah. I mean, now he's 13. Yeah.
Okay, so they updated it. Yeah.
Okay, so he's 13, but still, I mean, he looks amazing. Like, I don't know, he just seemed to go through a point in his career where it's like, oh, Dan Ige, whatever, he's not that great, and now his last couple fights, I mean, he just looks amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's always been a guy who I really like watching. When he's on the card, it's always a plus for me. Like you said, though, in years past, he's been on fight nights and whatever, maybe the co-main of a fight night or the main of a fight night. Cool to see him get a pay-per-view shot. And, yeah, he's been around for a long time, and he's always entertaining, especially against a guy like Nate Landwehr.
Yeah, I mean, that guy really comes to fight. Landwehr, we've seen him, I mean, I remember him, you know, previous fights, and he's just, the guy's kind of crazy, too. Like, you see him in, like, interviews or not even interviews. I just saw him, like, I don't know what they were doing, some kind of videos where he's, like, walking around and just, like, yelling at people and like getting people fired up or whatever. Yeah, he's fun to watch.
He's definitely fun to watch.
He's just fun to like. He'd be just fun to walk behind and
right.
watch him walk down the street.
Yeah. No,
100%. He's super fun.
Yeah.
But you know, that's a guy too. Came to fight, and I mean, Ige kind of dominated. You know. The action, you know.
He controlled the pace of the fight. You know, he definitely looked better, had the edge up on Nate. But you know, two guys have been fighting for a long time in the UFC. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Two guys have been around a long time. A lot of time in the octagon. So it was definitely gonna be a good fight. They both come, you know, like you said, ready to. Yeah,
I thought good matchup and good on the matchmakers for that one. I thought that's a good fight, a good matchup, and
for sure.
And yeah, I mean, Ige was the favorite, and kind of showed what he did in the last fight. Just kind of dominated and did really well. I mean, it was good.
Yeah.
It was good stuff. So I know we're kind of flying through these, but there was, like I said, it was good fights. But I mean,
good fights, but not anything really. I got a little bit to say about Mike Malott. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
Well, so third fight of the main card: Mike Malott versus Anthony Fugit. Fugit? It's got to be Fugit.
I think it's Fugit.
Sure.
Fugit, maybe. Yeah.
Again, sorry.
Yeah.
Mike Malott, a guy I didn't really know too much about before. This was his third fight in the UFC. So big spot for him, right behind the co-main on UFC 289. Big spot for him in his hometown. I believe he's from Burlington, Ontario, which is pretty close to us.
Not too far from us. Like an hour away, maybe.
Yeah. Looks like Sidney Crosby.
He does. You said that when we were watching the fight.
He looked awesome. I mean, I was incredibly impressed with him. I don't know. I thought it was pretty dominant. Whatever, the Oliveira fight was pretty shocking too, but he was one of the more shocking parts about this card to me was watching him. He looked great.
Yeah. Yeah, it was surprising how dominant he looked.
I mean,
Fugit just didn't have a chance against him, really. But
speaking of someone who was feeding off of his hometown crowd, he was all into it, talking about it before the fight, how he's already had so much support and all this, and it was great. It was really just awesome to see. He's yelling Canada on the mic after, and it was really cool.
I mean, he looked really good, and I think that he's definitely an up and comer in that division. I mean, he's 10-1.
Yeah.
Looks really, really good. I'm trying to see what his last fight was. I mean, he's won his last 3.
Yeah, so he's undefeated in the UFC. Good for him.
Yeah.
But yeah, looked so good. Looked really big in there. Submitted him in round 2 and beat him up pretty good on the feet. I think, if I remember correctly, he kind of beat him up pretty good, like I said, standing up, and then knocked him down and got on top of him and submitted him. So, couldn't have drawn it up better for himself.
Yeah, for 170 pounds, he looks big, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
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 Who's he got in his weight class that we can look at here?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of guys. I mean, he's got to work his way up, but I'm just saying in the top, in the bottom 15, you're looking at Michael Pereira, Jack Della Maddalena, Ian Gary, Chiesa. I mean, those guys are fighting soon, but
right.
Neil Magny, I mean, he's kind of the gatekeeper of that whole thing, but
him versus Neil Magny would be cool. I don't know if they want to jump him up that quick, but
I don't know. Who knows? I think they should just start putting these guys to the test right away.
Yeah, him versus Ian Gary would be a sweet fight.
That would be a great fight.
Yeah, I would like to see that.
That would be a great fight.
Make it up.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure Ian Gary wants to fight up, not down, but
that's the thing. I think they're both on the kind of same trajectory, so I don't know if they would meet this early. But if they both keep winning, I think that we'll definitely see them fight eventually. Maybe higher up in the rankings, maybe when they're both top 10 or something. But
yeah, that division's just killer.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, when the heck is Shavkat fighting again? I want to see that guy fight again.
Well, he's supposed to fight Bilal, and then
I know. I don't think he's got anything planned.
Yeah. Oh, Jeff. Wait.
He destroyed. Oh, and who's this?
Jeff Neal?
No, that's March 4th.
Yeah, when
did
that
Jeff
take
Neal.
place? It doesn't say a decision on that.
Huh?
It doesn't say who won.
I don't know.
Look it up real quick.
That's a good question. I'm trying to find it. Sorry for the pause and not saying anything there for a second. But
okay, it just didn't say on the website there, but Shavkat submitted him in round 3.
Oh, gotcha.
So beat Jeff Neal. Jeff Neal's no joke. So, and Shavkat's ridiculous. So
yeah,
he's definitely gonna get
Yeah, I'd like to see what's next for him for sure. But anyways, going back to the card, Malott was awesome.
Yeah.
I thought it was a great. I thought it was a great showing for him, and like you said, Canada 6-0.
Yeah, beautiful.
So that was pretty awesome. Yeah, I thought the for some reason I thought that arena looked a little small too. I don't know. That's where the Canucks play, right?
It did. I believe the Rogers Center. Yeah, it's gotta be right. Yeah.
I don't know why. It was just maybe some of the certain angles they were showing. I just thought it looked a little. It just didn't look like a full.
Right. Yeah, it is where the
full size arena kind of thing, but
that's cool.
But thought it was great.
Definitely. Talk
all right.
about Oliveira.
Anything else on that?
No, I mean
you seem to have a lot to say about Mike Moore.
Well, not a lot, but
Sidney Crosby.
I'll throw up a picture.
Well, he's Canadian.
Like fucking Sidney Crosby.
He is Canadian. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Sidney Crosby Canadian?
I bet you Mike Moore played hockey when he was younger.
I bet you he did. No, he's a great fighter. Can't wait to see what's coming for him next. But we can move on. Charles Oliveira versus Beneil Dariush.
Yeah.
This was the main event, the people's main event, in my opinion.
Leading
up to the fight.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I don't know. I kind of have a lot to say about this too. But
yeah, let's hear it. I'll start. I did not expect it to end this way, this fast. Beneil hasn't lost a fight in 5 years, 6 years. And it sucks that he had to run into Charles Oliveira before he got a title shot after being undefeated for 5 years because Charles looks so good. I mean, he looked insane on the feet, outclassed him in every way, and got the job done. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Oliveira is just so cool. Like, he's just like, I'm just saying, the guy has a shit ton of money probably. It's like he doesn't really need to do this anymore, but he's like now still just comes out there and the crowd is just loves him.
Yeah.
He's just like
grew up in one of the worst parts of the world.
Yeah.
The favelas.
Right.
In Brazil.
But he's just so cool. Like from the way he dresses, he's got the sunglasses on all the time. Yeah. He's just always like hyping the crowd up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, and the guy comes out and just destroys a guy who's like supposed to be one of the top contenders in the division.
He is. I mean, Beneil Dariush was running through everybody that he faced.
That's what's surprising about this. It's like, and what's surprising is that, how it ended. Like you said, TKO, ground and pound. I would have never predicted that. I would have predicted he would have choked him out. And that was coming to that.
It probably, yeah.
After the head kick, it's like he got on his back and then Dariush flipped over kind of, and then, he got ground and pound after that. But
I mean, Oliveira made it known right away how good he looked. I mean, like it was one of the first exchanges of the fight. He rips him with a head kick. I mean, I think he kind of blocked it, but
it was a block. But the power behind that was just insane.
That, and I was like, oh fuck, this might be.
And even the one where he knocked him down, it was partially blocked too. It wasn't a full straight on head kick. I mean, he got his arm up, but it kind of clipped him.
And I've heard too, even if you block some of those really good head kicks, first of all, it hurts your wrist, it hurts your hand, and then it's still like you're still getting hit.
Well, you're still hitting yourself with your own hand, basically.
You're still feeling the force of the kick and whatnot. It's just not flush. But
I mean, it was the kick, and then there was a punch kind of like behind the head. It was kind of like behind the ear that you caught him with.
Yeah.
That, those punches, obviously, that anything that's behind your ear right here, all you need to do is tap. If you haven't done this, tap behind your ear just like that hard, and it throws you off.
Yeah.
Now I'm a little bit dizzy. Like it just do that, and you're like throws you off a little bit. It does.
It does. No, and you're 100% right.
People that don't understand that, like, that is a spot, man. You get hit back there.
Yeah.
You're done. I mean, most guys are done anyway.
Right.
I mean, we've seen that happen. Remember when Gilbert Burns was fighting Usman? That's what Burns hit Usman with. Behind the ear, knocked him down, and then Usman recovered and won the fight. But that was the punch.
Right.
Hit him behind the ear, knocked him down. That was, whatever. But that kind of punch, whatever, takes you out.
It knocks you right
takes you out easy.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
But
yeah.
I don't know. So obviously, we have to see Oliveira fight Makhachev again. I mean,
it's got to be. Yeah.
After a performance like this, there's no doubt that's what's next for him, and that's what I 100% feel should be next for him.
I mean, and I'll go back to saying it again. It's not like he fought like just an okay guy. He fought.
Right.
He destroyed Beneil Dariush. I mean, this was supposed to be the best fight on the card, the most competitive, the most this and that. It was supposed to be Dariush's chance to get a title fight. And
Right.
You know,
If it was
lost.
if it was a close fight decision to Oliveira, then yeah, who knows? Who knows what it, they're if it was a close fight and it was a decision for Oliveira, you could make the case that, oh, maybe Dariush gets a shot, even though he loses a close decision, and maybe it's a case where maybe a few people thought he won the fight even.
Yeah.
Then you make a case. It's like, yeah, give Dariush a shot, or
Because that happens a lot in the UFC where someone loses but still doesn't lose any stock. You know what I mean? Still is right in the mix. But unfortunately for Dariush, this was a mopping.
Or if this comes off as like, a decision for somebody and kind of a boring fight, then maybe neither of them get it.
Right.
Maybe it's Bilal,
Yeah, a lot has to do with what you do inside.
I mean, you just don't know.
Fight, instead of just winning or losing. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you just don't know what's next, but this is clearly what should be next, in my opinion.
Right, because, Poirier's got Gaethje.
I'm sorry, I said Bilal, but he's in a different division.
Yeah.
But anyways, I'm just saying, if he doesn't get the nod, in this fight.
Who does, right? Because
that's what I mean.
Locked up with Conor, supposedly. Dariush just lost. Poirier and Gaethje are fighting. What are you going to give it to Fiziev or Gamrot? No, probably not. Not over Oliveira.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question. I think you got to have Oliveira, and then if Oliveira loses to Makhachev, I think the winner between Poirier and Gaethje gets another shot.
Yeah.
Gaethje's
making one last run.
And if Chandler beats Conor, I mean, he's got a legitimate beef to be up there too.
Oh, for sure. He's, just entertainment value wise, or it's going to be a close fight no matter who he's fighting. I don't care if it's Makhachev or whatever. It's going to be a very entertaining fight. He's not just going to go out there and get knocked out or submitted. It's going to be a tough task for whoever's fighting Chandler. So.
Yeah, I think that's what they got to book for the end of the year is Oliveira and Makhachev now.
Yeah,
I mean that's really what's got to happen.
Yeah, they got
October, November.
Yeah.
Hopefully that's up next.
Hopefully Makhachev fights in his fucking division, like he says he wants to.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I don't know. If you have whatever, that's a whole other story. But I just feel like they should just tell him who he's fighting. You're fighting Oliveira, just like just like Edwards, they're telling him you got to fight Colby.
Right. Exactly.
So it's a thing where these guys should clean like Adesanya did, Usman did, clean out the division first.
Right. Right.
Clean out the division and
Volk did.
And if you're going to go up a division, then, or if you're going to go up a weight class, then it's got to be a legitimate thing.
Right. No, yeah. I mean, the long-standing champions, the dominant champions that Islam supposedly is or thinks he is, he's got to wipe out everybody. You got to beat Poirier, you got to beat Gaethje, you got to beat Chandler, and he's got a tough division below him. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, for sure. I think the biggest thing we got to talk about is Charles Oliveira speaking English.
Almost forgot about that. I saw a lot of funny tweets about that too.
Oh, it was funny because we were watching the fight and I was just thinking to myself, because we've never seen him speak English. I've never seen him try and speak English or not even close.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I was just telling you, we were watching the fight. I'm like, does this guy ever speak English? Like you would think by now he would have a little bit of something going on. And even in a press conference or whatever, he could, I think he understands English maybe, but
it's definitely hard to formulate thoughts and, whatever.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm not saying he should or he shouldn't, but it's like a lot of these guys you see that are from Brazil or wherever, and they're like, they pick up a little English and they can understand it a little more. But him, it's like you're just talking to a complete guy who doesn't understand English.
Yeah.
But what does he do after the fight? It's like he tries to talk.
He
tries to talk a little English.
Yeah, I saw a lot of funny tweets about how it was like a screen grab of the translator watching him speak English, and he was like, I'm slowly losing my job. It's like Oliveira's the only one left that doesn't speak English.
The Spanish translator who's there every time is like, oh shit, I just lost another client.
Yeah.
He's like, he's gonna be speaking English before we know it.
Yeah, right.
But I thought that part was so cool. That's like part of what made that so cool, and why I said Oliveira is so cool. It's like that crowd loved him, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh my God, he's addressing the crowd in English, and they can understand what he's saying is like awesome, you know.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty cool, but yeah, it was kind of funny how we just mentioned it right before, and I was like, holy shit, he's trying to talk English.
Here, yeah. I think you made a good video.
Only a
about that.
few
Yeah.
words, but
Yeah.
it was
Hey,
it was
it's,
a good
it's
attempt.
respectable. I think English is the hardest language to learn.
Yeah.
Or one of them anyway.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's
very
definitely
respectable.
weird how you take it for granted speaking a language.
Yeah, you don't even think about it.
Because you hear another language and you're like, gee, I don't understand any of that. Like,
Wait, what?
what are they talking about?
That's funny.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, so I don't know. I like I said, let's see it again. Let's see the rematch, and I think you got to give it. I mean, the way Oliveira is just, I don't know, it's just he looks so good. Again, looks so good.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see what happens, but hopefully he comes back. And I mean, I want to see a little more from Oliveira against Makhachev too. It's like I think that, you know, I don't know. I'd like to see this Oliveira against Makhachev, you know, and see what he can do. See what he can come back and do. So that would be awesome. But we can move on. Main event, you know, kind of a snoozer here, but you know, a lot to talk about, but not really a lot to talk about the actual fight, because it was kind of like one of those deals where I just thought, you know, it was kind of like the, what do they call it? The effect, you know, like the kind of like the effect where, you know, like the starstruck effect. Once again, when we see someone fight Nunes or someone, you know,
you could call
fight,
it the Amanda Nunes
yeah,
effect.
or
really.
we've seen it with Shevchenko too. You know, it's like you're fighting one of the all-time greats, and you go in there, and there's a lot of hype build up to Aldana, and she's like great striker and has knocked a lot of people out and supposed to have this great power and all this, and I don't know what the volume was, but oh my God,
ridiculous.
she wasn't even throwing any punches.
I mean,
it was just like,
yeah, she looked very, very, very timid. I don't know.
She caught her with the
one clean
right cross,
Yeah.
But that was it. That was the only punch that landed clean, and it was just a super dominant performance by Nunes. Super smart, didn't take chances, just pieced her up from the get go. Kicks, punches, took her down, repeated takedowns. You know, I'm just trying to replay the fight in my head, but it was just like, you know,
she did whatever she wanted.
Took her down whenever she wanted, you know, got tired, you know, not got tired, but probably got tired of hitting her in the head and just, okay, we're going to take her down now, you know, do this, do that, whatever.
Yeah.
And it was a thing where it was a complete dominant performance against an opponent that was starstruck, in my opinion, and just froze in the biggest moment of her life.
Right.
Sad to say, but that's kind of what happened.
Oh, yeah. No, you're right. You're 100% right.
You know, and I think that's happened to a lot of these fighters in the women's division particularly. I just feel like anybody that's going up against Nunes just gets like starstruck, except if you're Juliana Pena, you know, really.
Right. And that's how you beat Amanda Nunes, though. She laid out the blueprint of you just got to go and try.
You got to go right at her. And like I always said, it's like you're in there. I mean, whatever you know, you're in there to win the fight. Like, this is your moment. You're fighting for a championship. Like, you're either going to win or lose.
Right.
So, you know, and does it matter how you lose? Not really.
No.
Does it matter if you get knocked out, or does it matter if you get, you know, a decision against you? That doesn't matter.
No. It's your chance to beat the GOAT of MMA. If you get knocked out in the first round, it's expected.
And I thought, like, I don't know, if I was that, like, they kept going to Aldana's corner, and I was like, during the rounds, like after the first round, it was like, okay, first round, it's like,
get your bearings.
Okay. The guy was like, okay, we need a little more volume. We need a little more volume. Like, okay, first round, whatever. Like, you know,
happens.
Fine. Yeah. It happens. Second round, same thing. Like, you know, but by like the third, fourth round, that guy should have been fucking yelling at it. Like, if it was me, I would have been like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
You got to get your ass, like, I would have basically thrown water in her face and said, you need to wake up.
Yeah.
Like, let's get your ass moving.
Well, because it's, like I said before, this is your shot.
Right. That guy was just being 100% too nice to her in the corner.
Yeah.
He was just like, okay, we need more volume. And then he was getting like by the 4th round and 5th round, he was like, okay, you got to do it. Like he should have been like yelling at her. Like you see some of these corners motivating their fighters.
Well, because it could have snapped her out of this, because you're in there against the GOAT of MMA. You know what I mean? It's definitely intimidating. You could definitely fall into a mindset of like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. But if you have a coach that's there saying,
well, that's what I'm saying. I'm not blaming the coach necessarily, but like the corner should have something to say to her to snap her out of this funk.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Whatever it is, get your act together and get out there and start throwing.
Yeah. Right.
Like throw caution to the wind. Like 3rd round, you're down 2-0. It's like you got to get out there and do something.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree. 100% agree.
So whatever. I don't, like I said, I hate being critical, but oh my God, like that's what I was thinking about after that fight was like, why wasn't the corner like telling her more? Like, why wasn't he saying like, get out there? Like you gotta do it. This is it.
Right.
Like,
right.
This isn't 100%. Some like, this is your chance. It's not even a regular fight. You're fighting for the championship of the world.
Yeah. Against the GOAT.
You have your chance now. You lose, you're never getting this chance again.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So that's what he should have been telling her.
No, I agree.
I should have been in there. Goddamn.
That was your spot. That was your spot.
But he should have gave her the "you suck" speech like we used to.
Yeah.
We used to give "you suck" speeches in baseball.
Yeah.
Like, you guys suck.
It's not a joke. When we sucked, he told us. But I was gonna actually bring up something about baseball in the Amanda Nunes effect realm. It's kind of the same. If anybody plays baseball, this will be short and sweet. But if you're facing a pitcher who you know of, say you're in high school and this kid is committed D1, everyone talks about him. There's a lot of people. Baseball community small. All the good players. You're facing this kid, and you're in there, and your team knows, and he's pitching, he's starting, and everyone's going up there and just watching pitches because you've already decided that you can't.
Right.
You really don't have a chance.
Yeah, exactly.
But if you didn't decide that, you actually might, like, the kid's probably not as good as you really think he is. You know what I mean? Maybe Aldana could have actually taken the fight to her if she had a little better.
Well, it's all attitude. We've been through that 100 times where we're like, oh, they're throwing this guy against us. He's, when you were playing, it was like, oh, this guy's going D1 to wherever, and it's like our guys are intimidated by that, but it's all attitude. Some guys were intimidated. Some guys were like, well, whatever. I'm not intimidated.
Yeah.
It's like Falbo, remember? Falbo, funny story, but we were facing a D1 pitcher.
Oh, yeah.
He goes up there just like curveball coming at him, just bends over and hits him right in the head.
Yeah,
so that kind of started the whole.
The wheels fell off.
Right, exactly. That guy got all mad.
You have to make him feel a little bit uncomfortable.
Right, exactly. Right.
Nunes. When's the last time Nunes before the first Pena fight felt uncomfortable in the octagon?
Right, exactly. And that's
force that on.
But that's the same way when we used to coach. When I used to coach, it was like, okay, we're playing a team that we're overmatched. So what are we going to do? Okay, we're going to start bunting. We're going to put him in. We're going to put the ball in play and make him make a play. And how many times did it happen where it was like, oh, yeah, whatever. Maybe it didn't work sometimes, but it did work it worked a couple times where you're like, okay, we put the ball in play. You got to make a play to get us out.
Right.
It's not just stand up there and swing away and be intimidated, just like Aldana was. It's like, do something. Do something different.
Yeah. Exactly.
You gotta take the game to the champ. That's kind of what we did in baseball. It was like make them make a play.
That's what you got to do. Like I said, when's the last time Nunes before Pena felt uncomfortable, felt pressured, felt anything?
Right.
She runs the show in there, and
right.
The only way to really beat her is to take it to her.
Right. What were we talking about? I forgot. Sorry.
Just basically how you need to pressure Nunes.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I was talking about Juliana Pena and how she took it to her, and it was like, yeah, and she forced Nunes to get tired, in which we haven't seen that hardly ever, and because no one's really took that game to her and jabbed, Pena was just jabbing her to death. It was just like that jab was like one after another after another.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Nunes is so great that, she just showed how great she was and came back against Pena and just destroyed her. You know?
Yeah, I mean, and then the one thing I wanted to follow up with that is, I don't know, since Nunes has now felt the pressure and kind of realized after Pena, I don't know if maybe she wouldn't have let that happen again. She would have been able to combat that a little more. I don't know. She seemed like a little different in the second Pena fight,
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
A little more composed when Pena's just rushing at her.
Well, that was the thing. She just kept backing up, and Pena was just like, I mean, it looked like she was just throwing, not even looking half the time.
Yeah.
And that one clip is just unbelievable. She's just rushing at her, and Pena's just backing up, bang, and knocks her off her feet. You know what I mean?
Well, because she, she waited and wasn't as freaked out about someone,
right.
running right at her.
Well, and that's what she learned from the first fight, because that's kind of what happened in the first fight. It was like coming at her, and Pena really didn't get out of the way, or Nunes didn't get out of the way quick enough. But she was just, whatever, it was dominant. And I don't want to hear anybody saying that we need to see that again, because I don't, that's people were, kind of saying, or I saw a couple people, but then I was thinking to myself, there's probably a lot of people that are mad that Nunes retired and didn't give Pena another shot, but I realistically do not think that we need to see that. I don't think I would want to pay for that. I don't think anybody should want to pay for that again. I think it's...
And the thing is about like, oh, you can't retire. You have to give her another shot. The fuck she does. If she wants to retire, she can retire. She's done it all.
Well,
I mean? Like, that's not her, motive to stay in the game is, I owe it to Juliana. Like, no, you don't.
And I can tell you this, too, that I heard somebody saying, I forgot who it was, but somebody made a really good point. I thought, that could be it. Like, Nunes hates Pena. Like, they hate each other.
Yeah.
And, this could have been the final fuck you. It's like, I destroyed you. You're where you're at, and I'm retiring, and I'm done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. That it could have been her final way to get back at her. And also, I don't think for a second that Amanda thinks, I should stay and fight Pena. But do you think if Pena gets the belt, Nunes comes back?
Yeah, that's a good question, because
Pena's beating people, talking all this shit. Amanda's ducking me, this and that, because she would.
I'd like to see that. I mean that would be a great scenario to happen, and see if Pena gets the belt, and because she'll be talking about her for sure. Talking about how, you're ducking me, you ducked me for the trilogy and all this other stuff. I'm sure that would happen.
Right.
But I'm not sure the fight would happen, but I'm sure the talking would
happen. I mean, I don't know if you saw on Ariel or Pena was saying that I'm the best fighter in women's history, this and that.
This week she was saying that?
She was making some outlandish claims. That's for sure.
Well, she's setting it up already. That seems to be the case.
And, that's the game she's got to play, if that's, because that's the fight she wants, I guess. She wants to be 2-1 against the GOAT. But, whatever. Nunes laid the gloves down, and, I don't think she thought for a second that she owed it to Pena. And like you said, it was probably the opposite, where she was like, you know what? You're not getting it. You're not even getting the chance.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole thing. It's like, I don't even know, really who's next as far as, to fight for that open belt. I mean,
Blanchfield's in the other division, right? Not Pena's division.
Blanchfield, yeah.
Yeah. Shevchenko's, yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh, I forgot Alexa Grasso's got the belt.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Pennington was the backup, Raquel, is that how you say her name? Raquel Pennington. Yeah. She was the backup fighter for this fight. She weighed in, made weight, whatever, so I think that, you're probably going to see her either fight Pena, or you're probably looking at Holly Holm.
Yeah.
Because Holly Holm's a big name, and she's looked really good. Looked really good. Yeah. She's looked very good in her last number of fights. So,
right.
So, I mean, between those three, I think we're going to see you'll battle it out and see who's going to be champion, really. Yeah. But if it's Pena, and she gets the belt back, and and starts talking all kinds of shit, yeah, we could see it again.
Yeah. How old is Nunes? Let's see. I mean, she deserves to be done. She's 35. Okay. I mean, so she's not too old to come back, is what I'm saying.
No, but I don't know. Is there really a reason? Like, you just get to a point where, like, she's made a shit ton of money. She doesn't need to do this anymore. She's 35. She has a family. I think they're having another child.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like it gets to a point where you're like, I don't know, is this worth it anymore? Is it worth it for me to come back to fight some, in her eyes, some scrub that she just destroyed?
Right. I mean,
you know, it's like
there's nothing left for her to do.
Comparatively, you're looking at. I mean, come on,
dominant
let's
fighter
talk
in
about
MMA
it real. It's like Juliana Pena. Yeah, she beat her. Good on her. But really, to come back and think you're gonna, you know, call yourself the best fighter, best women's fighter of all time, and all this other bullshit. It's like,
It's not true.
listen, you are not that. So, but I don't know. That leads kind of another discussion too. It's like, do you have anything else for this fight, or?
No, yeah.
But anyways, well, congratulations to Amanda Nunes.
Yes.
100%.
Enjoy your retirement.
She's amazing, and what she, you know, it was awesome to see. I loved how she put both belts down, her gloves, and did all that, and it was, you know, it was just awesome to see. And yeah, we will miss watching her fight for sure, because there's really, you know, even though we were like, oh, this card's not that great and blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, but, you know, we always go back to say that she's definitely one of the greatest UFC fighters of all time, no matter man or woman, whatever.
Right.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if, you know, you're talking about, you know, the men or the women, and she's one of the greatest of all time, probably, you know, up there with everybody. So, so it's always sad to see them go, but it's great to see somebody leave on top also.
Yeah.
Because you hate to see, you know, I hate watching those fighters that, you know, kind of like, you should have retired a couple fights ago or whatever.
Right.
You know, but it's great to see her, and congratulations to her is all I'm trying to say. Yeah. So, but leads to the discussion too. It's like, talk about money, and I think that's why they're having, like, what we kind of saw from Dana's press conference about the Ultimate Fighter. It's like, that's kind of why they're having trouble putting together this Conor and Chandler fight. I just feel like, I don't know, I get the sense from Dana White that it's like, it's not good enough for Conor or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because that guy's got all the money he ever could want in the world. What's the motivation for him? You know, I know he kind of agreed to do this and all that, but when it comes down to it, you know, why haven't they scheduled the fight yet? He's not even in the USADA pool yet. That's what I just read.
Really?
It's like, he had to get the fight scheduled by the end of the year.
Yeah.
He had to get in the USADA pool, I think it was today or yesterday. Like, so there's a lot of that going on too.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's a whole mess.
Right.
You know?
So it's like, are they saying they're not, you know, does this mean they're not going to fight until next year now?
Could be.
I mean, or when, or is it ever going to happen? And when does it come to a point where Chandler's just like, fuck this, I'm going to fight somebody else?
Right.
I mean, he's not going to say that very quickly.
Fight.
Right. He's not going to say that very
money.
quickly because he wants to fight. It's the biggest payday of his career.
Right.
You know, but realistically, are you going to wait a year to fight this guy?
Right.
Chandler doesn't seem like he wants to, and look, Chandler's no spring chicken either. The guy's 35, 36 years old, been around a long time.
People might forget he was the dominant Bellator champ.
Right,
for
exactly.
Years, you know,
I'm just saying, he's not
some new UFC prospect, you know.
Right. This is, I mean, the way I see it is that Chandler wants to fight Conor, and this could be his, like, sayonara, I'm retiring.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Whether I get a shot at the belt or not, I'm out of here, you know?
Yeah.
So, whatever. I just wanted to add that in there because I just feel like, I don't know. I think there's a 50-50 shot that this fight doesn't even happen, which is super disappointing. And I just feel like, you know, we're on the 3rd episode this week of The Ultimate Fighter, and the fight still hasn't been booked, you know? So,
we should do a podcast on The Ultimate Fighter. I kind of have some things to say about that.
Let's do it.
Because I'll save it, but
Yeah, we'll save it.
Just about my thoughts. About the
I'm
show
one
and whatnot.
episode. I don't think I watched this week's yet, but I watched the first couple. But yeah, let's do it. Let's do an episode on that. We're back rolling. So
Yeah, definitely.
So that's kind of all I got on UFC 289. But you know, hey, follow us on other channels. Our Instagram is kind of blowing up.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got like, well, I don't know how many followers, but we've doubled our followers in the
we've
past.
gained like 300.
Same on TikTok. We're on TikTok, so we've got
Huge following there.
almost 8,000 followers on TikTok now. So we're growing. YouTube channel, we're going to keep putting things on here.
Yep.
You know, reviews, previews, Ultimate Fighter stuff.
I'd like to get some fight reaction stuff too, like of us watching.
Yeah,
fight.
yeah,
Even
we
if we're
talk
watching,
about
like,
it.
in the garage.
Yeah,
bring the camera on a few mics so we can do it. Like
yeah,
that or
well, we
whatever.
got a big fucking.
No,
TV
I know. But like, if it's nice, I'll watch. You know, whatever. Cool stuff coming.
Yeah, we'll do it.
Definitely.
So there it is, UFC 289 review. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. We appreciate it. I think YouTube is over 39,000 now, or 38,000.
It was 38 something.
38 something. So thanks to all the subscribers. But like and share this video. Appreciate everybody tuning in to hear what we have to say. And like I said, we're not experts. We're just
here to talk.
A couple of guys talking about UFC.
Yeah, talking about the sport we love. So yeah, really appreciate you guys being here. We'll shut it down. See you later.
Sounds good. Later.